I joined the military at the age of 18, right out of high school. My parents were working class and couldn't afford to pay my university tuition, so although I was accepted to several good schools, I chose the Royal Military College of Canada, where I'd be considered part of the military and receive an annual salary. During the academic year, our job was to study. Then in the summer, we did military training. We graduated as second lieutenants, entry-level officers, and then did 4 years of military service. I loved RMC. That's where I learned about discipline, leadership, and teamwork. After graduating, I served in an armored regiment in Quebec City, the 12e Régiment Blindé de Canada. Eventually, I became a 3-star general, a senior commander, and represented Canada in NATO. The military is where I met my wife, who served as a major in the Royal Canadian Air Force. Our experiences gave us a sense of purpose that we've passed down in our family. Today, 2 of my 4 kids serve in the Canadian military, but they're in the minority. The Angus Reid Institute finds that young Canadians are more reluctant to fight for our country than older Canadians. And pride in our armed forces has dropped significantly, from 79% in 2019 to 54% now. That decrease is coupled with a lack of trust in our public institutions. As of 2023, only a third of Canadians were confident in the federal parliament, and barely half reported confidence in the justice system and courts. Some might argue that Canadians are taking more pride in our country now than ever. US President Trump's tariff threats brought us together and started the elbows-up boycotts, but even that has started to ebb. In any case, we shouldn't need Trump or any outside influence to make us patriotic. Real patriotism doesn't come through ideas and slogans, but through leadership and action. That's why I believe that now, more than ever, Canada needs to create a mandatory national service for all Canadians under 30 years old. The Canadian Armed Forces are facing a shortage of between 14,000 and 16,000 personnel. Meanwhile, our Arctic coastline is poised to become a site of global geopolitical competition as world powers eye its critical minerals, oil, gas, and fresh water. Russian and Chinese interests in the region are expanding, and the ice is melting, opening us up to a looming scramble for northern waterways and seabed resources. If anyone wanted to come into the north and seize our natural wealth right now, there would be little we could do to stop them, short of a strongly worded diplomatic protest. We don't have the necessary troops to defend ourselves, and the ones we do, we can barely transport up there. Meanwhile, our country's political, economic, and military weight has atrophied, and Canada's international reputation is getting weaker. We're no longer a strong player on the world stage. For example, in August, when a group of European leaders traveled to Washington, D.C. to discuss the war in Ukraine and support President Zelensky, Canada was not at the table, even though we are only a short flight away. We need to rebuild Canadians' confidence before we can once again wield the weight of a strong middle power abroad. And we can do that by ensuring that Canadians love their country and are prepared to serve it. The good news is that recent polls show strong interest in a mandatory national service program, especially if it's broadened beyond the military. In an Angus Reid survey, 43% of people supported the idea of mandatory military service, but about 70% of people approved of a year-long mandatory service in the fields of public health support, environmental support, youth services, and civil protection. There's much that young people can gain from serving their country. Early in my military career, I spent 2 years on exchange in France, where I commanded army conscripts. It was the late 1970s, and at the time, almost every 18-year-old male was required to serve in the French military. We received new appelés or conscripts right off the bus. They had long hair and lacked any prior military training or knowledge. But after 12 months of basic training, I could have taken my troop to war and won. Some of them, who had shown leadership potential, ended up becoming crew commanders in charge of an armored vehicle. These conscripts gained more than just the skills to shoot a rifle or drive a tank. They learned about their country and the importance of defending and serving it. Having a job to do gave them discipline, and they picked up small lessons like the importance of nutrition and staying fit. These basic but foundational habits can help set a person up for lifelong health and success. In France, a lot of the appelés hadn't traveled much. Once they joined the military, they performed military maneuvers across the country. When young people get to know their country and its people better, a sense of national pride emerges. along with an understanding of why their country is worth defending in the first place. In Canada, national service could have a similar effect. Imagine a young man or woman from Quebec is sent to serve in Alberta, or vice versa. How much could they learn from that experience? Several NATO nations already have a mandatory national service system in place, including Lithuania, Estonia, Norway, Finland, and Denmark. Lithuania's system, which seeks volunteers and then uses a lottery to fill the remaining quota, is only for the military, and applies to men ages 19 to 26. Estonia conscripts all men between 17 and 27, but other public service jobs are options for those with religious or moral reservations. Meanwhile, Norway's highly selective conscription program selects several thousand of the most eligible men and women up to the age of 44, granting the nation 3.5 times more military personnel per capita than Canada. If we're going to have a national service program, we'll need leaders in government to create a framework for it. In Canada, the federal government could designate several different streams of work, including defense, conservation, emergency and disaster response, healthcare, social services, digital infrastructure, and youth development. When a young person turns 18, they would register for national service and suggest what stream they might prefer. If more people register than needed, a lottery system could determine who serves and in which stream. Those selected would enter training and take courses on civics and Canadian history, as well as stream-specific skills. They would then be deployed to a community where they would serve for a year. Deferral beyond age 18 could be an option in some cases, as long as young people still entered service before a certain age, like 25 or 30. I envision national service as a paying job, which would make it more attractive to young people. And there could be other incentives for them to join. Financial support for university, for instance, or guaranteed employment after service. Permanent residents could get a faster path to citizenship. Citizenship in this incredible country comes with benefits but also responsibilities. Once every young Canadian has worn a maple leaf on their shoulder, I think they'll feel pride for their country, something that can unite us all and help Canada achieve its fullest potential.